What's up, everybody? Welcome to DISRUPTu episode. I have no idea because we're winging it today. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. This is the only marketing web show for the funeral profession. And I'm lucky enough today to invade the Damani Group and the creators of Care and Damani for Grief. And I've got John LaFront. There we go. And we're going to just have a discussion about Damani, how they got started, and then why Disrupt has decided to partner with Damani and vice versa. So, John, thanks for letting me overtake the casting couch or whatever this is and your office space.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. This is your third trip out to Utah since NFPA. So we're honored that you paid us a visit this time.
If you haven't been to Utah, you have to come.
We'd love to have you.
I've been a beach. Our family is a beach family, but Utah has been like, where are we going to go? Let's go to Utah.
That's awesome.
So 3 times in 8 months. It's special. So
yeah,
cool. Well, thanks for letting me be here. Damani and Disrupt have partnered in a couple different facets. We announced that a few weeks ago. Since then, I've got a lot of questions from our client set. I know you've gotten some emails like, why'd you guys partner? And then what does Damani do? So let's have that conversation. Like, give me the origin story of Damani.
Yeah. The origin story is interesting. I mean, my partner Riley and I, we both came from the pre-need space and pretty heavily involved in that. When we decided to set out and form the Damani Group, we wanted to use that skill set of helping families, certainly, but we wanted to bring technology and innovation to the profession as well. We had that experience in the profession and have absolutely loved it. But on a personal note, I lost my dad to brain cancer 11 years ago. He was 46 years old and had 7 small children. And so I've experienced loss, and I've had to plan a funeral myself. And I've also had to deal with the repercussions of grief. And I've had to navigate that largely on my own. And so it's been amazing as we took this leap and came out on this creative endeavor to form the Damani Group, of seeing it evolve. And I think that we have been able to build a phenomenal platform that helps out on a business need for funeral home owners, certainly via Aftercare, Google reviews, and grief support. But I know without a doubt that we're also helping a lot of families. And we see that from the responses that we get via our Care campaigns, the reviews that we've been able to generate for our funeral homes, and just the engagement and participation on our grief platform. So all those things kind of bundled up. There was kind of this business side, and then there was this personal side. And this has been just a really phenomenal fusion of that. And it's been really, really exciting.
Well, I love the personal connection to it, because this wasn't a business that was started as like, hey, here's a great opportunity, let's go do this. There was a need in being able to address that need and a personal connection there. So you have really 2 core main products. Tell me the difference between Damani for Grief and Damani Care.
Yeah, the evolution of it, certainly Damani Care that was the foundational program and platform that was built. And so it is an aftercare program, and we call it Aftercare for the digital age, but it's 100% run by text messaging. The reason why we chose text messaging was because of the 98% read rate. Ask yourself that question: when was the last time you didn't read a text message? Right. And you know for certain that they're being read.
And even if you're deleting it, you're reading it before you delete it.
100%, yeah. I mean, it's the way it is. And the world that we came from before, it was a lot of direct mail, it was a lot of phone calls, and I knew that the people wanted the message, but we weren't reaching them because of the mode of communication. So that was why we developed Damani Care. And then the other side of it was the Google reviews side. The profession, as we've seen and looked at funeral homes all across the country, we're not doing a very good job at that. And it's an awkward ask. I get it. You know, when you have a death and it occurs, it's a terribly awkward ask as a funeral director to say, hey, would you mind leaving a review when they're in the middle of their grief? Yeah. But through this platform, we very naturally and organically are able to ask that question, and we're able to generate 5-star reviews at a rapid rate. And it's been so exciting to be able to help with that as well. So The Domani Care program, it is a 1-year-long program, and we start a week to 2 weeks after the service. And then we have a series of 5 to 6 campaigns that include, a holiday type message, the anniversary of death, a birthday. We've also done events. If you wanted to do a pre-need type event, or if you're doing a holiday event or a car show, we're able to invite people en masse. We know that they're going to read the message. We're seeing a 50% response rate. We're engaging with your families, and you can focus on the at-need side of your business. So that was what we initially set out to do with Domani Care. Now, when we started dialoguing with these families, which I think it's the first of this kind, to see an ability to be able to communicate via text message with grieving families, we have a pulse all across this country. We're in almost 40 states now and Canada, and we have a pulse of these grieving families and what they're experiencing. It's unlike anything I've seen before. Well, 35 to 40% of those families, when we would dialogue, would ask us, do you have any recommendations for therapists? Do you have any bereavement groups that you recommend? Is there any literature that you could send me? Again, they all wanted it via their mobile device so that they could access the content and get the materials that they need from their mobile device. So we'd go to the funeral home owners and we'd say, okay, so what do you have? We'd love to send anything that you have. And the funeral home owners would look at us and say, we don't have anything. We have some pamphlets that they can come pick up at the funeral home, or they would say, here's a link to a government website with all of the therapists listed alphabetically. And that was really heartbreaking to me. All of a sudden, that was where I put on my experience, having gone through this before, where I did exactly that. And I said, my wife and I constantly, John, you need help. And I'm going, I know, but where do I go? And I'd Google, therapists in my local area, and I'd see a massive list, and it was so daunting. So I said, we can do better with that. And we can reach people in the comfort of their homes and be able to provide them the resources that they need so that they can get the help and the support that they need. And that was why Domani for Grief was built. And it's been just such a huge blessing to be able to give that resource to people. And it's a lot of free content that they're able to go on. There's assessments built, and it's been so exciting to see that grow some legs and be able to reach people in such a personal way.
It's pretty in depth too. So, I mean, I've got to, through connecting directors and Disrupt, lay eyes on a lot of different grief programs. And I think, we talked about the grief content that you've got there, and the assessments and the access to therapists and the things that you've provided on one platform are second to none. And what I really loved about what we've learned through social and dealing with grief content is that people don't want this fluffy picture of what grief is, like rainbows and butterflies and one day at a time it's going to get better and everything's great. They really want to be able the grief content that resonates the most on social is things that speak to just how sucky grief is. This is where you're at, we know it, it will get better, but we're here, just real raw. And I think that there is a lot of content that we've been able to see in the platform that addresses to the heart of what grief is, not trying to make someone just feel better about grief. And it's pretty powerful. So kudos on that. And that's one of the things you and I really started talking in depth about, the things that we're doing in our own regard and that we're great at are really aligned. And text messaging bleeds right into social, because social is establishing that one-on-one conversation at scale, and then text messaging is engaging in that conversation one-to-one at a much deeper level after the family's already been in the funeral home and experienced that. How do you continue to serve that family? So what has been the biggest realization as you've gone down this path, and what you've seen from the profession that really resonates we're on the right track?
Well, a couple of different things. I think when we initially launched a lot of these campaigns, we were actively looking for solutions to reach families. I think the profession at large, if you talk to them, and I know you do it as well on the social side, they're wanting to engage with these families. They're wanting to do a better job of reaching out and providing support. But it's challenging. I mean, we now are on this rocket ship where things are changing and evolving. And I know on the social side, it's changing and evolving on a regular basis. And certainly it is on this front as well. And so gone are those days where you can just do the same things that we did for generation and generation and generation. And so we actively were looking for that as well. And so the two big aha moments was, I remember launching our first DomaniCare campaign and going, I don't know, we'll see what happens. And I remember I clicked send and I sent out that first campaign, and the responses just started flooding in. And I didn't even ask a question. It was simply, I'm just reaching out to let you know that we're thinking about you. That's all it was. And all of a sudden, we had this flood of messages. I remember I was just sitting in my desk that's in the other room. I was like, wow, like that is amazing. I spent time in a call center where we were hounding people. I would have given anything to be able to dialogue with families on this level. Then the second thing has been seeing the funeral home owners. I get it. To adopt something that's kind of foreign like this initially is there's a little curve, right, that you have to overcome because this is new. But I've been so grateful for our early adopters, those that kind of jumped on the platform and said, hey, we want to give this a shot. And then they think that they know what it's all about. And then after they get the first campaign, I mean, I just get flooded with text messages, with emails, with phone calls, with pictures of things that happen. And they are just elated with their ability to reach out to these people in such a personal way. And so to see them become such champions so early on has been above anything I would have ever hoped for in building this company. And so it's been just deeply, deeply rewarding. Again, on the family side, but then also on the business side, we're changing people's lives, and it's just been really exciting.
It's kind of cool because we all want to like change the world, and you know that's such a big thing to say, but in this profession, we're rewarded every day, every client family of our clients that we get for us, we're engaging 7 million consumers a month through content. You're engaging hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people a month as well.
Yep.
In some little way, we start to change the world through that interaction. And it comes in a time where, and it's so cliche to say it's the worst moment of somebody's life, but there isn't any other way to paint that picture, and to be able to give a positive experience in that environment is pretty phenomenal.
Well, and it's interesting because when we first got together with our team of therapists that helped us build out Domani for Grief, I remember the lead therapist, he kind of put his head in his hands when we pitched this idea to him. And he just said, we are going to help so many people. Now, he's been in therapy for a long time, but a lot of the therapy, it's just fascinating how much stems from grief. Substance abuse, sexual type addictions and trauma or betrayal. A lot of these things, if you go really, truly deeply to the core, it's because of unresolved grief. And that grief can be certainly the loss of a loved one, but it can also be a divorce. It can also be, there's a lot of different type of loss that a person can experience. But in the therapy world, when you talk to these therapists, they go, no, grief is pretty core. So for us to be able to maybe make an impact, and we are making an impact, on that level, I think that it's monumental. And I'm just so excited that, through our partnership with Disrupt, that not only can we provide those resources for families via our text message service through the Aftercare program that we've developed, but also through the social media channels, you're now able to reach out to people in even greater mass because of the exposure that's there on those social channels. And that's exactly what we're trying to do is let's get that content out there and into the hands of the people that need it, so that they can get through this, and they can. And it's going to be hard. Yes, no question, kind of to your point earlier. For me, it took me 5 years before I saw a therapist, and it finally wreaked enough havoc on my life that I said, I need to go see somebody. And I was fortunate to finally find a therapist and get the help that I needed. But that's 5 years of my life that I had to struggle alone. Right. Because I had no idea where I was going to go, and there just wasn't a lot of content online. So anyways, we're super grateful to do that.
That's cool. Yeah. Good. Yeah. And so 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, we announced a partnership together where Disrupt clients will get access to your grief platform and then a free trial of the Aftercare. And this partnership's growing, and we're going to be adding some more things to it. But if there is a Disrupt client watching, which there's a lot, how do they get in contact with you to learn about what it is that they can get through our partnership?
Yeah, great question. I think there's obviously a lot of different ways that you could get in touch with us. Certainly, I think even just talking to you, we've already had several that have reached out to Ryan. He's been happy to pass that information along. But you could also go to our website, thedomanigroup.com. is there. And you can also find us on social. We're very active on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. And so you can reach out to us on there, Domani Care, right here. If you just find that on any of the social channels, you'll be able to find us. And our team is there. You can monitor at any time, and we'll be happy to get in touch with you. So
awesome. Well, cool. Thank you for letting me hang out, meet your team.
Anytime. You're welcome anytime.
Mix some business with pleasure.
Yep.
Why my family's in Utah, and thank you for lunch.
Yeah,
we had a good time.
That's
so
great.
Cool. Well, we'll wrap up
Yep.
This episode of Disrupt You. I'm going to ask you to ask the audience one question. This is your one shot. Anything that you want to know, and then they will comment the answer to. So this is on the spot.
Just anything?
It could be sports related. It could be anything that you like that is just dwelling in your heart that you want to know. Oh, I love just shocking people.
Thank you so much for putting me on the spot. So one thing that I want to know, we'll go very personal. I want to see if someone can guess, this is on me, what my fastest mile time was in 2018.
Fastest
give me
mile
your
time.
Numbers.
Man. Okay.
Right.
So you're a runner?
Yeah.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We can't answer.
I'm not. Yeah, I want to see.
Okay.
I want to see just by you looking at me how fast you think that I am.
John,
we can share the results later.
John's fastest mile time in 2018. Comment below. Okay, wraps up this episode. Until next time, keep disrupting.
See you guys.